Today I'm doing a book review, a boxing book review. Hello and welcome to Fit to Box channel. I'm Coach Simon, and here on Fit to Box channel I review all things boxing related, and that leads me very nicely onto this book, Strength of a Lion, Cunning of the Fox. And this is a book that is written by a fellow amateur boxing coach. So I was recently at the Riviera Box Cup and I was chatting to Nick Griffin, the head coach of Heart of England Amateur Boxing Club. We was having a little chat. One of his boxers came up to me and said, "You're the guy that does the reviews on YouTube." And we had a little chat, and it's always nice when people come up to me at these boxing shows and recognise what I do, but more importantly when they say to me that they've bought some equipment following on from one of my videos and they really like the equipment. So I always like that. Following that sort of boxer coming up, obviously Nick wasn't aware of the channel, but he did mention then, he had a little chat with me as to sort of find out what the channel was about, and I said that I do boxing equipment reviews, and he said that he had written a boxing book. So he had a motorbike accident, and during that motorbike accident, during the period where he was getting better, he wrote this book. And this book, Strength of a Lion, Cunning of the Fox, is a fiction book based on amateur boxing. And the really great thing about this book is you can tell that it is written by an actual amateur boxing coach. It's not an author that's just imagining what it would be like, trying to, in their head, think, oh, right, okay, I'm sure it would be like this. This guy lives and breathes amateur boxing, much like myself, and that really comes across in this book. Okay, so let me just show you that book. Look at that. When you look at the front cover, Strength of a Lion, Cunning of the Fox, and that doesn't look like it's a boxing book, to be fair. You've got the big lion and you've got the fox, and then on the front there it says boxer beats the bullies. Okay, that's the only indication on the front that that is a boxing book. It's got Nicky John. Nicky John is the pen name for Nick Griffin. On the side there you've got Strength of a Lion, Cunning of the Fox on there, and then on the back, I'll read the back out to you because it gives a really good description of what the book is about. Kaylee Goodman has been repeatedly bullied in school. Even when she moves to a new secondary school to escape the bullying, a new gang of bullies, Natasha Harrison and her crew, begin to make Kaylee's life a misery. Whilst being chased by this gang of bullies, she stumbles into a boxing gym. Terrified at first, she reluctantly stays in the gym and enjoys the training session. She takes to the sport like a duck to water and learns how to fight back. Eventually, Kaylee takes part in real boxing matches, initially locally and then in Liverpool and in London, but can Kaylee win a gold medal at the prestigious Harrington Box Cup? Okay, so obviously this is a fictional book, but let me tell you, when you read it, it is really close to the experience of a young girl or young person in boxing. It says, follow Kaylee on her journey into boxing and see just how she learns to combat the bullies. And then it's for young adults, and it says $9.99. Okay, so for $9.99, it's a great book for $9.99. When I was younger and I used to play football, or soccer as they call it in America, I used to play football, and there was a series of books that I used to read when I was a youngster, and it was called the Napa series. And this was literally following a young lad who was playing football at school and his adventures with sort of the team and the different results and the different cups and things. And I really loved those series all those years ago. And this book very much reminds me of that. The only difference is, in the Napa series there was pictures. I like pictures. It helps me when I'm sort of reading a book to sort of formulate, because my imagination's not that great. But in this book there is no pictures. That's the one thing I would say is down for me. If you've got a good imagination, you don't need pictures. In this actual book, it's a really easy read. Okay, very rarely do I pick up a fiction book. Picked up this one, he sent it through to me, I've had a read of it, and let me tell you, I was really entertained by it. and I really enjoyed it, and I got through this book remarkably quickly. So it's 248 pages, didn't feel like that, and it says 12 years and up. But I would say this is a definite great book for anybody who is a youngster that is into boxing, either getting into it or is actually already active in boxing. And it really does go from sort of that first initial being bullied, entering a boxing gym, and how the young girl is feeling, and then goes all the way through to the process of going from training to sparring to the first skills bout. A skills bout in the UK is basically their first bout that they can have, and there's no winner. Okay, so they do the actual fighting. It's more controlled when it comes to the power. It's more controlled. You can do like jab only for round 1 and straights for round 2. It's much more sort of structured, and these skills bouts help youngsters to have an introduction into real bouts, and you can have a maximum of 6 skills bouts in England boxing. Now, when it comes to the book, she has a skills bout in there, and it talks you through that, and you start to really get a feel for not only the club that she goes to, but the characters that are in there, as well as obviously the bullies as well that she's encountering. Now, what I would say to you is, if you've got someone at your gym, they don't necessarily have to be being bullied, but it is a reassuring book for that type of person who is experiencing that. But also, anybody that is interested in boxing, it almost gives you a little framework of what to expect, right down from sort of when they arrive at a show, what happens with the weigh-in and the doctor, and the sort of the actual atmosphere that they will get at the different venues. So in here, Kaylee, not only does she do a skills bout, she also then does bouts, and that leads to a box cup tournament. Obviously, there's no spoilers here. I'm not going to tell you about that, but I will say very well written. Really enjoyed it. It flows very nicely. It's got short chapters. That helps me. Short chapters, and it really does keep your attention when you're reading it. As I say, it's got on the back $9.99. You can get it from Amazon and also W.H. Smith in this country, Amazon, or you can get them direct from the actual author as well. So what I really like about it is that sort of connection. You can tell that a real boxing coach has written this, and anybody that picks it up will automatically recognise stuff. It talks about the ton up. We have the ton up here. That is 10 exercises where you do 10 on each, and we call it the ton up. And in here, they've got a ton-up in their boxing gym, and probably there's ton-ups that happen all over the country when it comes to boxing training. But it's a really good read. As I say, as I was going through, I like the fact that it addresses some of the things that you do get in real boxing. In particular, the one chapter that is round 11, in which it becomes apparent that boxing judges are not always honest. So obviously there's everybody knows that in amateur boxing, much like professional boxing, you do get some dodgy decisions, and that's addressed in this book as well, okay? The vast majority, I would say, of judges that we've encountered here at Telford ABC are really good, but you do sometimes get those results and you think, how the hell have they come up with that? You do wonder sometimes about sort of some of the judging. So I just wanted to show you that, as I say, strength of a lion, cunning of a fox. I've only ever done one boxing book before, and that was Dinardo's, and that was more of a brand help for people wanting to start their own boxing brand or starting their own boxing equipment company. This is a fictional book, but very close to what a youngster, boy or girl, will experience if they go into a boxing gym in England. I would imagine if you're in like America or Australia or any other countries, it would be very similar, a very similar framework, but especially in the UK under sort of England boxing, you will find that when you're reading this, you're sort of constantly able to retrieve similarities of what actually happens. And I think that what Nick Griffin has done with this book is superb. Obviously, he was recovering from a motorcycle accident, got a lot of time on his hands, and he's used his time absolutely brilliant with this. I will put on screen my Fit to Box report card. I don't normally review boxing books, but I really do think that this is an excellent book. And if I was a youngster, sort of say 10, I would say 10, 8, 9, 10, going upwards. This would be a fabulous book to read, just to go through and see what the sort of process is from that first initial walk into a boxing gym, which is daunting in itself, to actually competing, as I say, at an actual box cup. The only other thing I would say in there is there's a couple of typos in there, and just on the very last fight, there's a couple of times when there's a name that comes in that's not related. So I don't know whether or not the person who's doing the proofreading was really paying attention. But I kind of noticed that. It threw me a little bit. I found I was having to sort of look back, see if I'd missed anything. But apart from that, really well written, very easy to read, and I would recommend that to anybody at any boxing gym. And if you're a boxing coach, then get a copy or a few copies of this and give it out to your youngsters, because they will really benefit from it. It's great that Nick has written that. I really like it. Check it out. For £10, I think it's brilliant. So, as I say, 3 Fit to Box stars, excellent. Thanks for sending it through, Nick. And I really look forward, hopefully, to the next book to this one. Hopefully it will become a series and it's not just a one-off. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe to Fit to Box channel, and I shall speak to you soon.